All right, everyone. Ian here with Scotch on the Rocks. And today, in going with First Aid February, I want to talk to you about first aid on a budget. What you can afford to kind of lax on as far as money goes, and what is super important that you have to spend the money on. Today's Scotch on the Rocks is brought to you by Proper 12 Irish Whiskey. Now, it's not Scotch, but it's pretty close. So today, I went to the dollar store, and I picked up all this stuff on the table, stuff you can see right here. And it cost me $23.75. Now, this stuff is things that you don't need to spend your money on, right? The stuff that doesn't need to be sterilized, it doesn't need to be name brand. So I'll just kind of go through it real quick so we can see what everything is. So I have a bunch of elastic bands right here. Again, not sterile. Just throw them in your pack and you're good to go. Ibuprofen and Excedrin. Now this one's name brand, but you're getting kind of cheaped out on how many you get. That doesn't really matter. We have some chapped ice, some lip balm. We have some Band-Aids, and these actual Band-Aids are name brand, but they were at the dollar store, so that's a win. We have some waterproof tape, some exam gloves, and some hydration packs. You know I'm a big proponent of these. So these would be good for throwing in your pack, and these would be good for keeping at your house in case you get sick. Then we have more gauze. Again, we've gone over the gauze. We have some hand sanitizer, antibacterial. We have cotton balls. And we have liquid skin. So the thing I like about cotton balls and cotton rounds is they're actually multi-use. You can use these for fire starting, for your flint and steel. They're just really good fire starters as well as first aid equipment. Also, we have liquid skin. I like liquid skin, and there's actually a cool story behind this. So back during the Vietnam War, the United States military was coming up with a way to stop wounds, right? So cuts and slashes and things like that. And they actually came up with what you would call super glue. Yes, so that's super cool. They took that and ran with it, and now it's super glue, but it works really well. I've used this on quite a few cuts, and they've healed up just fine. I haven't had any issues with it. It does sting really bad, though, so be ready for that. I'm going to push all this stuff out of the way, and I'm going to show you what you have to spend the money on. In my opinion, you have to spend the money on this regardless. So, we have a SOF tactical tourniquet. This is the most built tourniquet I have ever seen, and I really, really like it. So, it's my favorite. The thing that I like most about it is that the spindle is made out of metal. This thing is an absolute beast. And we've gone over this in the last video, but I just want to kind of highlight this one in particular. So, it even has a lockdown, and it's not going anywhere. So one of the things that I kind of want to talk about is when you buy your tourniquet, some of the tourniquets are actually made in China. And I've heard stories of people tightening them down and them snapping, the actual spindle snapping. That's not what you want in a first aid scenario, right? You want to make sure that you spent the money prior to, and it's as high quality as you can get. The next thing is a rat tourniquet. Again, actual rat tourniquet. This, like I said, they both have pros and they both have cons. This one's big, it's bulky, it's kind of harder to carry around. This is thin. Now, this is an actual RATS tourniquet. I highly recommend these. It is the name brand, and it's going to cost a little bit more. But the elastic inside of it is just super tight, and you know it's going to stick. So it's, again, you put it on, you wrap it around, and it stops. The pros or the cons to this is that there's actually more steps involved than just putting the tourniquet on, wrenching it down, and tightening the spindle and locking it. With this, you have to put your arm in, wrap it until the pulse or until the bleeding stops, and then you got to take this and fish it around in there, and then it's a pain because you can't get it undone. So you can use one of these for training, but you're going to end up losing it. So just be aware of that. The other things that I want to QuikClot. Everything I own that stops bleeding is name brand. It is absolutely name brand QuikClot. When I was in the military, I went through a combat lifesaver course, and this was brand new. They had just come out with QuikClot, and it was actually made out of shrimp shells. It was a blood stopper. I don't know if that's still how it is, but I know that I've seen QuikClot work, and it does absolutely 100% work. Now, you're gonna have to get them to the hospital as soon as it's done, because once it hits the blood, it's like a glue. It just sticks right to the flesh and right to the blood and everything. So you're gonna want to get them to the hospital after this. But name brand. I can't stress that enough as far as QuikClot goes. I've seen it work, and I 100% carry this in my pack all the time just because of the experience I've had with it. And then the last thing is SWAT T. Now this is a multi-use tourniquet. It's basically just, it's super heavy, it's super dense. You just wrap it. It's almost like an Israeli bandage, but it lacks. So an Israeli bandage has kind of a upside down U shape, almost like it looks like a U shape, and it's got little hooks in it. So you actually, it looks just like, almost like this. So you wrap it around, and then you hook it in, and it stays put. This is kind of different in that it's just a really heavy-duty tourniquet. Or not a heavy-duty tourniquet, it's a whole bunch of different things. It's even a multi-function. But SWAT T, MyMedic is another good one. If you go on some of the other first aid sites, there's a lot of up-and-coming first aid places that I highly recommend. And if you have questions about it as to whether or not they seem like they're legit or not, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next one.